better.
Should we cut and come back? That way I can refill my cup.
1 sec.
Okay.
Let me just get through this, then we'll cut. Alright, recenter. We were so off center last time. I was like, it was really bothering me.
I think we're good.
Okay.
Are we ready? Are we going to do it?
We're recording on both sides.
Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers. It feels so much better than cheersing to water. Okay, I'm Coco.
I'm Marika.
And we're Serial Knitters. This is a knitting podcast where we're going to talk about knitting.
Yeah.
And we are on schedule.
Yes.
We've got 2 dogs in the room.
Uh-huh.
So
it went fine last time, so we're just going to keep doing it. Hopefully it'll get smoother.
yeah, I feel like there were a lot of interruptions last time, but that's just because I was editing, so I was like, every time they would bark, my ears would get blasted.
Mm-hmm.
But
my neighbors were coming and going quite a bit last time, but so far so good.
Yeah.
And we're actually both wearing our
Handmade
knits today.
Yes.
Woo-hoo.
I'm wearing the RBG sweater and a lovely pattern for, a great reason, and I hate the yarn. I hate this yarn so much. And I can't wait to knit it again one day. But this is alpaca blend, and we've discussed, I'm slightly sensitive to, maybe it's just this specific one, but it's put me off all alpaca. And the process of knitting it because I didn't like the yarn was terrible, but I do wear it quite often because it's a good pattern. Like, it looks nice.
Yeah, it's a fun sweater. Like, it's a simple sweater. It's a very clean looking sweater, but because of the crop and the balloon sleeves, it's got a lot of fun and visual interest to it. But it's also a good neutral, so you can kind of wear it with anything.
Yeah, it's great, but I hate the yarn.
Yeah,
going on record.
But
you love it. You have the same one. You did the same one.
I did the same one, same yarn. Yeah, we bought the yarn together to save some money. And yeah, I love it.
What are you wearing?
I am wearing the Amali sweater by Marion M. Knits.
It is a triumph.
I love it so much. Yeah, it's fantastic. I love it. It came out great. I love the colors. It's in
just one color, actually.
Well, yeah, 2 different yarns. Technically the names of the colors are different, but they're basically the same color. So they're both Purl Soho yarns. This one is the line weight in cosmic yellow, I think, and then this one is the Tussock in lightning yellow. I might have switched the 2 names, but those are the 2 colors. And yeah, it's so great.
So you were saying last time you were on one of the sleeves, you did some kind of alterations to it.
Well, it
unintentionally?
Was unintentional, yes. So I knit this sleeve first, and I got all the way down to the ribbing, and I just wanted to make sure how long I needed to knit the rib for. And then I realized there were supposed to be decreases the whole time that I did not do. I just knit to 8 inches and then was like, okay, let's do the rib now. But I think it worked out fine. It's a pretty straight sleeve, and since it hits right at the elbow, I didn't need it to be super tight or fitted. It's not doing a balloon or anything like that. So I just was like, I'm not going to rip all the way back and do all the cabling again. So I did decrease, I think, between 6 to 10 stitches as I was doing the rib. But yeah, and so it's not a tight cuff, but I think that's good because I have a mild wool allergy, and so anything that's super tight or close to my skin gets really, really itchy. And that was one thing I was really worried about with this, is since it is, basically all wool, how I would be able to wear it. And it's actually been pretty good. I wore it to work one day, and had it on all day. Directing dogs. had it on all day and got home and, you know, I was a little itchy, like, up through my shoulders, but everything else was fine. And I didn't, like, break out in a rash or anything, so that was a nice surprise.
It's a win.
Yeah.
How was the process of picking up for the stitches with mohair and, you know, like 2 different types of yarn, basically? You're doing the mohair and the, what is this, 100% merino? And then you're, like, having to pick up, how did you make sure that it was spaced well and, like, you were getting it all?
I just tried to kind of pick up as, Buddy.
Argus is in a very playful mood today.
Yeah, buddy. No. Can you go lay down? Come on. Go lay down.
The battery's only got 15 minutes.
Okay. So picking up for the sleeves, it didn't seem that difficult. Like, it's, you know, with the mohair, it's very clear to see the stitches, and so you know, like, where your row is and, you know, kind of where to pick up. And then the only thing that got a little confusing was through the, like, through the shoulder right here, where you've joined to, you know, and you're kind of going, I don't know, this felt a little wonkier to me than everything else that was a clear single stitch.
Did you have to sew the join up here?
No, what you do is you do this side, this rib here, and then you cast on this side.
Oh, so then you knit. Okay. I'm asking all these questions because I'm going to be knitting one too.
Yeah, so you basically knit, like, you knit the front down to the armhole, and then you pick up and knit the back down to the armhole, and then you join and knit in the round.
Nice, okay.
Yeah, so I loved how it was constructed that way too, because again, hate weaving in ends. So I think by the time I was done with this, you know, I could have twisted the yarn if I really didn't want to weave in ends, you know, between the 2 areas. I could have, you know, held the merino and twisted it with the mohair down the side. I didn't do that. I broke it. But I think I still only had like 6 to 8 ends to weave in at the end, which was pretty nice. And yeah. I also made, like, when I picked up the stitches around the sleeve, I didn't pick up the number that corresponded to the body size I was wearing, the body is a medium in the pattern, and then I just picked up stitches. I didn't really count, and then once I was all the way around, I counted, and I think I wound up with like 101, and the pattern, the extra large, or the largest pattern size, called for 104 for the arms. So as I was knitting the first couple rows, I just made a few stitches underneath to get it up to 104.
Yeah, I like to do a roomier sleeve because although my bust size is usually for a medium, so like my torso is a medium, my upper arm is much more of a large than so I always end up picking up a couple extra, and I feel like it helps not have those big holes like in the corners of your sleeve. But in general, I just feel like it's nicer to have a roomier bicep for me. So I usually do that too.
Yeah.
Pick up enough stitches for the larger size only in the arm. Great.
Yeah. So yeah.
And you already have an outfit to wear with it.
Yeah. I don't know if I should like show.
It's hard to do.
Yeah.
If it goes poorly, I'll just cut it out.
Okay. It's hard to see. I don't know if you can see from back here. So I got these leather pants, or they're faux leather pants, from Zara. They were on clearance, and even though I had a very like ethical quandary in buying them, because I know like fast fashion is not
the goal of handmaking
any of this.
Yeah.
And also, you know, it's so bad for the environment, and I'll come back so you can actually hear me probably.
I like how you walked like crunched over.
Yeah, so I was still questioning like how I feel about purchasing them, but I also was like I think they work with the sweater really well, and I wanted to be able to wear it because that's the whole point of these things, is to wear them. So I bought them. And I think they're a good staple piece, and I'm going to wear them a lot. Like, I'm making a lot of other sweaters that I think will work with them, and I have a lot of existing pieces in my wardrobe that will work with them. So that was part of the justification. But normally, I would try to avoid buying something like that.
But it's tough. I mean, it's not like you're going to make your own. One, you're not going to make your own leather pants. Mm-hmm. That's quite a specific skill set. Two, maybe you wouldn't even want full leather. Mm-hmm. Again, for the ethical reasons.
Has its own ethical issues, yes.
And then, I don't know, to make your own faux leather pants sounds a little difficult to me. Mm-hmm. So, I understand why you made the choices you made. Okay. All right. I guess we'll go on to work in progresses, because I don't have anything finished this week.
Do you want me to, maybe I'll pause it and then we'll restart just so we don't get it in her.
Okay, so real easy. I'm making a little sock. Got a little sock going. Mm-hmm. This is Paton's Kroy in the Cascade colors, and I am in love with the colors of this sock. I don't know I just love the colors. I love the kind of tealy blue that's happening in this. And I'm hoping that this is going to have enough for one more sock in it. It seems a little questionable, but I've already done the heel turn, so I'm just going to have to go down the toe. It's a little bit more of a simplified version of the Coffee Talk sock. It again has these ridges on the front of it. And I'm doing that because I've got a pair of white Doc Martens that are causing a lot of pain and concern for my feet. And I found that the Coffee Talk socks were kind of like the perfect sock to wear to try to get some kind of protection on the top of my foot where the stitches of the leather are really digging into my foot. I've also ordered I got some mink oil, and I've soaked the shoe in that to try to, and I hope it's not made of minks, but in order to try to soak the leather and really soften it. So that with the handmade socks, I'm hoping will be enough to make them work, because I really love them, but they are borderline unfunctional. Marika has watched the slow progress of me trying to break in these shoes, and I always have to bring a pair of flip-flops because I'm going to tap out at some point during the day, and I've slowly worked it up to now it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon is when I tap out, but it used to be like 11 a.m. I was like, they're done. And it's still quite painful. So that's why I'm going with something that has this kind of extra padding on the top of it. The garter stitch helps with that. I feel like these are much more, they're faster to knit than the Coffee Talk socks. This is called the Furrow sock. I think it's a free pattern on Ravelry. And there is on the Coffee Talk sock, there are these extra 2 rows where you're doing a little bit of like 1x1 rib in between the garter bumps, which I don't think is giving much away, but this one doesn't have that, so it's just garters, and then you knit in between, which helps it go a little bit faster. So that's it. It's a good pattern sock, and it's probably going to be done pretty soon, hopefully, right about the time my shoes are done soaking. And then
how long do they have to soak for?
Well, they've already soaked, but they aren't dry yet. The whole interior of the shoe is wet. So I don't know how long it's going to take for that to dry out. And I'll probably have to wear like some ratty gym socks for a little while in case it's bad.
Like put plastic bags over your feet.
That would make it so much worse. An already terrible situation, so much worse. So that's a quick work in progress that I'm doing. Do you want to go next?
Yeah, I've just been trying to make my way through the Nightingale. So this is where I'm at with the front panel. I've started the
I think turn that way.
This way.
Yeah.
I've started the arm decreases.
Of course the sun came out right when you were like, let me show my all white sweater.
Yeah. So I've started the arm decrease or the arm shaping. And I'm in the middle of that right now, and then it should be pretty quick. Ooh, it's getting real bright.
Maybe we should turn it down.
Okay, hold on.
1 second. Hold on.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm oh, that's better.
That's so much better.
So yeah, I'm just shaping for the armholes right now. I'm about halfway through that, and then it's a pretty straight shot to the top at this point. So I'm hoping to get that done pretty quickly, and then I can get the front and back joined and get the arms going. Yeah. So this sweater, I envision as something I could wear with these pants as well.
Yes, very much so. And your little moto pants that you bought, your moto leggings.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it'll be quite long enough. I'll have to see where it hits.
How long is this going to be? Because is this the very top of the shoulder? No, you still have the shoulders to go.
This is where the arms hit here.
Okay, I see what you mean. Like yeah.
So, so just plugging along. I still really love the color choice I made for this.
Yes. It's really nice that it has no allusions to veins and anatomy.
Yeah,
which was really the problem.
Yeah, because we had a long debate about what colors could work for this, because I did love the sample that was
kind of a really dark hunter green.
Mm-hmm.
There'll be a photo.
But oh yeah, we'll do a real thing up here. I did love that teal color, but I felt like I wanted it to be able to work in all seasons. Yes. And that felt like a very fall-winter color to me.
Mm-hmm. And it's why you went with the cotton.
Yeah, so that's why I'm making it out of cotton, and that's why I went with the white with the black spots, because I thought it would just kind of make it a more versatile year-round piece.
I can't wait till you get to the sleeves, because they've got a little puff on the top, and I'm very interested to see how the cotton yarn is going to do with that shaping.
Yeah, because I mean, the one thing I am noticing is that it's going to be a weighty sweater. Yeah. Like, it'll be heavy. And I do like the way the cotton's draping right now. But we'll just have to see once it's done and on. And yeah, I was surprised at how well the cotton is holding the cables. Yeah. And the seed stitch pattern, or it might be a moss stitch pattern in some of those areas, I'm really liking the definition that it's giving. And so I'm hoping with those little structural details, it'll be able to hold those as well. It won't just blunt. But yeah, we'll see.
Okay, that's the Nightingale.
Nice. Now we're going to cut for some more wine. So
we're back. The color's dark again.
I'll be okay.
We got Jesus. A lot of clouds passing by. And frogs in my throat. Okay.
What else do you have that's in progress?
Okay.
Ooh, I've never seen this in person before.
Let's do it. This is the Comfort Zone poncho by Espace Tricot. It's still in progress, so you can't really see it. It's a little turtleneck poncho that has a twisted rib running down the shoulders. And I hate this yarn.
You hate the color.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the actual yarn itself. Or are you not a super fan of how it's being put
No, the yarn itself is fine.
Okay.
I don't know what I was thinking. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this is giving me full Grimace realness. Like,
especially if it's a poncho.
Especially if it's a poncho, it's not great. But also, I'm wondering if I made it too small because it doesn't even touch the shoulders. But maybe it'll block out.
It does feel like there's a pretty good amount of like
stretch to
yeah,
it.
especially in the rib.
So she suggests a 6-inch collar. I only did 3.
Does she fold it over?
I did 4. She's got a very long ballerina neck,
okay.
Melissa from Espace Tricot, and I do not. So I decided to do half of what they suggested, and I feel very strong about my choice. I think it was the right thing to do. Because it definitely would have been folded over, which would have just added bulk to the neck and would not have looked good. So what happened was I saw this hank of yarn and said to myself, this is a great deal. Look at how much yardage is in here. And I was in a store where it wasn't like bright in the sunlight. So the purple of this yarn felt more realistic, doable. Got out into the bright sunlight, and I was planning to make the rug by Junko Okimoto.
The one I always call blanket.
The one you always call blanket, exactly. So I was thinking about making that one in this yarn, and I started to do a swatch of this plus the Scout that I made my flaum out of. It's not the right weight, but I wanted to see if I could cut this purple down with some light gray. Would it make something that's usable? And no, I continued to hate the color. But I had bought 2 of these, and I was swatching to see, like, should I buy another one? Or should I cut my losses and just stick with what I've got? And I just feel like the color is too saturated. Like, I wish it had been cut with a gray or something, or a black to take the intensity out of it, of the purple. Because it's a little too, like, Crayola for me. So.
Or do you wish it was, like, interspersed with more white?
No.
No, it's just nothing but a different shade could work.
Nothing but a different shade, exactly. Like, something that was just a little. I think I liked it because I thought it was, like, a cheerful color, and then that cheerfulness is exactly what I don't like about it once it's knitted into something. So my idea is I'm going to go ahead and finish it, and you're like, okay, with all of that said, why did you even progress to making something out of it? Well, I've already bought the 2 skeins, and I couldn't return them. So what can I do with this situation? So I'm going to finish knitting this poncho because, we did discuss, love a poncho. Ponchos are my favorite things in life, and I don't have enough of them. And then I'm going to over dye this with a black. And we're just going to see what happens. I've never done this before. I have no idea of what's going to happen. Don't even know the process fully yet.
What is your desired outcome? Like,
if it is just black, in the end, I'm perfectly fine with that. If we completely negate everything about this and all of its properties, that is fine.
Okay.
But if it doesn't fully take, and all we do is, like, kind of knock back a little bit of the brightness of the purple, that's good too.
And what's the blend of this yarn?
This is 100% wool. 100% Peruvian Highland wool. Okay, this is Cascade Yarns Eco Plus Peruvian Tones.
So theoretically, since it's all natural fiber, it should take dye pretty well.
It's called Blackberry, and there's not enough black in this berry for me.
It also feels like there's not enough blue in it to be Blackberry either.
Yeah.
Like blue or red. Like, I don't think of a blackberry as purple.
Like grape purple.
Yeah. Like
California raisins purple. Yeah. Raisins are darker than this one is. So, it's not to say that this isn't a good color for somebody, or that it isn't, like, it is, I like the yarn. I like how quickly it's knitting up. Like, I've done this in, like, a couple of days.
Yeah, because, like, this is the first time I'm seeing it.
Yeah. So, I read an entire book. I got a library card, y'all, and I'm so excited. Like, as nerdy as I am. Like, so I got a library card this week, and I've been using my iPad to read a book, and I read an entire book and knitted this whole thing at the same time, which was great. So this is, I couldn't knit my sock. I kept dropping stitches, but I was able to knit on this one without dropping any stitches while reading a book at the same time, which is a triumph for a nerd like me. So, triumph is the word of the day. So that's this one. I think the pattern is great so far. I mean, it's very easy to follow. I love, as we discussed with my other poncho, how I thought I would have a mental break and figured out that I didn't. On this one, you actually do have that, part where you're just knitting in the center, so it's like a good mental break once you stop increases. It's kind of feeling like I'm nearing the end. From this pink stitch marker here, I've just got to do 27 rounds of the pattern with the stockinette, and then I'm going to start the ribbing and cast off. So I'm probably only barely going to get through some of this skein, which is somewhat upsetting because I don't know what I'm going to do with the rest of this. But if the dyeing works, then my options are endless. I could do anything. And I'm not sure about the benefits of dyeing it before knitting it. Like, should I dye this skein before I knit it and then let it dry?
I think it depends on how you want to use it. Because, like, this, it's all, like, the whole garment will be the same color.
Yeah.
But, like, if you wanted to use that in a different garment, like, I know you had talked about, potentially using it for the bouquet sweater or something like that, like something that would have a secondary color, then you would, I would assume you'd want to dye it before you started knitting, because as soon as you get that second color in, unless you want to dye that color as well, you wouldn't be able to do it once the garment's done.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm not sure. So I'm going to dye this one after I've finished knitting it, and we'll just see what happens. It'll be a nice adventure, and if that's all this yarn comes to is a good learning experience, that's okay, because I don't know what possessed me. It's not the shade.
You like purple?
I do like purple.
But not this purple.
Because I'm going to show you another one that's purple in just a second. And I like that purple because you'll see it's got more gray. It's like a darker purple. There are definitely gothy overtones to everything I am attracted to. So that's the comfort zone. It's a good pattern. It's a pattern I definitely suggest to you, but I'm just not sure about that. And then I looked at the rest of those tones, the Peruvian tones, and they're all kind of like colors that I don't think work for me. They're super saturated, but not in a fun way, like your sweater here. I don't know. There's that. Cool. Do you have anything else?
I can talk about I talked about my Make 9 last time. It got a little iffy with some of the tech issues we had, but in the description of last episode, I had the link to the full Make 9, which in my normal fashion, I'm already starting to
break away from.
Reshuffle the order of, I guess I should say. I haven't introduced a totally new sweater yet, but I'm kind of out of order in how I was going to do things, which I'm like, I should probably just go back to the original plan. But the number one thing on that was, I believe it's the Ataraxia, which was also in this. Actually, I could just look it up right now. Which is also in this winter edition of Pom Pom from 2018. Yes, the Ataraxia by Linda Marveng. we'll put another picture up, but there's the little one from the pattern. Oh, I probably shouldn't show that. But anyway, cut all that out. So the Ataraxia, I'm making it for my mom, and I was doing it in the Brooklyn Tweed shelter. This is called, I don't remember what the color's called. It's on my Ravelry page. We'll put it in the description. And this is the correct weight. I did not do a gauge swatch. I just dove in.
It's such a good issue.
It's so good. I want to make everything in there.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. And so this is, I saw this Brooklyn Tweed shelter. It's in Tent. And I really liked this green color. My mom loves these like weird shades of green.
Mossy yellowy greens.
Yeah. And
which I feel like you like as well.
Yeah, I do.
It's a tough green to pull off, I feel like. But you guys manage.
It's a weird, like, Scandinavian Native American mix somehow allows us to wear this weird green color.
Because this color yellow that you're wearing, I could never wear it in my wildest dreams. Suddenly it would be the worst. You would be like, oh no.
But anyway, so I did not swatch for it because according to the yarn description and the pattern, it was the right weight, even though it wasn't the exact yarn used in the pattern. So I just dove in.
I don't support these kind of things at all.
And I'm not worried about gauge. What I am worried about is the pattern definition. And so it's a very...
intricate?
Intricate. Like, the pattern requires a lot of stitch definition. Like, it's not, if it was like giant cables, then I'd be like, okay, I'm not so worried about it. But when it's these like tiny little seed stitch things that are supposed to really pop, and you can't see anything in the Brooklyn Tweed shelter, it's just like nothing. And I think it's a combination of the irregularity of the color, which is what I really liked about it, is the color had a lot of variety in it.
Right.
But it's also an irregularity in the thickness of the yarn, so it's a lot harder to get like very clean stitches because the thickness of the yarn is constantly fluctuating. And so I don't think this is the yarn for this pattern. And what I think I'm gonna do is rip it all out and make the Christabel sweater, because my mom also really liked that one, and try and use this yarn for that, because it was also a worsted weight sweater, and it's in the same issue of Pom Pom.
Can you pull it up? Well, let me check it out. I mean, we'll put up a photo for you, but I don't remember what it is.
Oh, here it is. So this is the Christabel.
Okay. So much simpler.
Yeah, so it's got like a nice shoulder detail in the sleeve, but the rest of it is pretty much looks like stockinette, and then a ribbed collar and a ribbed button placket. So I think that might be a better fit for this yarn, because it'll really let the color shine through, and then I'll probably need to find a more uniform yarn in both color and I don't know, what do you call it?
Texture?
I guess, yeah, texture. To do the Ataraxia in.
Yeah, I thought that something more like a Madeline Tosh or a Madeline Tosh worsted weight. Something that maybe was indie dyed so that it was like there was a little bit of color variation in it, but a tighter twist would help. Yeah, kind of show the stitch definition better. But you'd have to source that all over again. I guess the issue is with this Christabel, it's a little bit cropped. You know, that's fully her waistband. So I wonder how adding length to it is going to change.
I haven't really checked it out. I'm assuming it's
to adjust the body length, work more, fewer rows before the waist shaping. Okay.
Yeah.
So you just have to, like, be mindful of when that shaping starts to happen and maybe add more.
Yeah.
As needed.
But yeah.
Because I would assume that your mom's, like, not interested in the crops.
I don't know. I'll have to check with her and see. But she did like that sweater. I just might need to adjust it, you know, to fit her torso better, you know, so it doesn't crop her. Like, it's not like a crop top sweater. So,
right.
You know.
I think you're right, though. I think that yarn could look very nice in this pattern.
Yeah. So we'll just rip this one out and try it again.
You aren't too deep. It's fine.
No, yeah, I pulled the cord pretty fast. I only did 2 repeats of the pattern, and I was like, it's not happening.
And you also haven't really committed to the full sweater's quantity of that yarn, right?
No, I only bought 1 skein because I wasn't sure. Like, I was at least smart in that sense.
So, but this one is a lot of stockinette, and you seem to work faster when you work cables. So, because you haven't fully committed to a sweater's quantity of that yarn yet, are you sure you don't want to just try to source for that Ataraxia?
I don't know. I feel like I might need a break from cables for a little bit after the Nightingale, and that I do want something that doesn't, like, the reason I like that I feel like the cable patterns and the, like, intarsia style patterns go so much faster is because you're working through a chart and you're like, okay, let me just do one more row. Okay, let me just do one more row. And so there's, like, that. And you can see your progress really clearly. You're like, oh, I just knit 20 rows tonight. Whereas in stockinette, I kind of, even though it might technically go faster, I don't feel the same sense of accomplishment. Yeah. You know, because it's like, it's not until it's done. Right. You know, it's not, you don't get that incremental sense of accomplishment that I feel that I get with intarsia or cable stuff.
Although I bet this one had that feeling because you could go from each section. You know, you very clearly, if you got through the mohair only section and got into the line weight, you were like, okay, great. I made some clear progress. Okay. I like having those little benchmarkers, though. I think that's a little bit of the problem with where I am now in my next project. Should we pause?
Yeah.
Restart?
Yeah. And we're back.
Brief interlude. What were we talking about? Knitting. Oh, yeah.
So I finished talking about the Ataraxia and how I'm basically going to have to, I'm still on the hunt for the correct yarn for that. And I'm going to redirect the yarn I have to see if it'll work for the Christabel.
Okay. But you want to try that before you attempt to source something new.
Yeah, because I think my mom liked the Christabel to begin with. So, you know, it's not like I'm trying to be like, well, I can't do this. Do you want this one? She was like, no, I love this one. So,
okay.
I think we're
an equally solid choice. Great. Okay, my last work in progress is the Minaret that I have been working on. I think I showed it last time as well. Sorry.
And this is the good purple.
Yes, this is the purple I actually like. So you can see it's pretty gray toned as the purple. It's got these little flecks of kind of like a deeper purple in it, but everything I've been knitting has had a twisted rib, and I'm getting a little tired of it.
This whole like knitting to the back.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think I'm just tired of purling so much. One little kind of mistake, I guess, is I managed to have an extra ridge right underneath the arm here, and I think it's because I didn't do a good job of like figuring out exactly how many stitches I had on the needles. So then when I got to the point down here where you're starting to work on that last pattern section, and you really can't tell at this point what's going on because you're just kind of doing like 16 rows to set up for it or something like that. I think it's actually more than that. But you get into the section where it's kind of like double twisting basically down here. And that's getting ready to go into the section that's gonna like cable out. And I ended up with an extra one of these ridges, and if I had been thoughtful, I would have decreased in such a way that they came together and then became one of these little threads, but instead I just stopped it short right there.
Yeah.
But it's under the arm, and the way that this one is knit, there's no short row shaping in the back, so you kind of decide what's the front and what's the back to you, and I will decide based on which one shows that mistake least. But I'm loving the yarn. It is Teal Torch out of Portland, and I think it's just beautiful. I did alternate skeins through the top half, but now that I split under the arms, I think I can do the rest of it probably with one ball remaining, which means I think I have too much yarn. I think I'm pretty sure I bought 4 skeins. I don't think this is going to take all of 2. So, I'm not sure. I have to look. But I think I just bought, hopefully I did my due diligence. I bought this at Stitches West, or Stitches SoCal. And, sometimes when you're in one of those convention kind of settings, the internet gets spotty because everybody's trying to use the internet. So hopefully I did my due diligence and actually looked up the pattern and saw the yardage needed and only bought to the yardage needed, and not just bought what I thought would make a sweater and then would end up with too much yarn. But I clearly don't have a full understanding of my stash, because I can't tell you actually what the answer is to that. I think I've seen more than 2 skeins lying around, but hopefully not, because I don't think it's going to take all of 2 skeins. But it's going to be I can see myself wearing this quite often.
Would you make, like, if you had a skein left over, would you do another magpie top with that? Or would you want to save it for, like, color work and something else?
Oh, I could do a magpie out of it. Yeah. Maybe I would do the one that was longer sleeves, just to try something a little bit different. But that was such quick knit that I am thinking about doing some of my other loose skeins that I don't have a plan for. I am thinking about doing something with those. One day if people watch this, if anybody has any suggestions for good, like, where you can get through a single skein on a project, let us know what you think, because I really liked that magpie. It's really changed the game for me as far as what I can do with those single skeins that I didn't really have a good plan for when I purchased them, and maybe they're a little too, I don't know, they're a little too showy or flashy to just do like a hat or a gloves out of. As somebody who has yet to do gloves. But maybe I should do gloves.
Yeah.
So this is the Minaret. Hopefully by the next time we podcast, I'll have a finished version of it. But I really love the yarn. Again, it's Teal Torch Knits from Portland, and this is the Sinking in My Soul colorway. It's merino wool, 75% merino wool and 25% nylon. So it would probably also be good for socks if you wanted to use it for socks, but it's beautiful. I think she did a lovely job of dyeing it, and as I said before, all of her colors were stunning, and I'd love to purchase from her again.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed it.
Yeah, she was great.
I think the last thing I have to talk about is the last thing on my Make 9 was the Belle cardigan by Heidi and Anna Pickles. And there was a sale Wool in the Gang had a sale.
I think it's still going, but by the time we post this, maybe it won't be.
Yeah, or it might be a different sale, because I think when I went on, it was like everything was 50 to 60% off. I think now, like currently everything's like 30% off, but they do still have a sale as of, what is today? January 26th?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I do know what day it is. I was like...
Purchase some stuff.
Yeah, I was like, when am I ever going to get this opportunity to purchase the things again? Blah, blah, blah. You know, all the justifications you always give for buying yarn you don't really need in the moment. Okay, so Wool in the Gang sale. I kind of went a little crazy, and I was like, oh, this is my chance to buy this, like, super bulky yarn that I need for the bell cardi. And I saw that they had on sale what is called the Feeling Good yarn. It's alpaca, 70% alpaca, 7% merino, and 23% nylon. And so I like alpaca. I don't have the same, like, there's like a weird micron thing happening that you really feel with alpaca. But alpaca works for me. It is never as itchy as wool, and so I always tend to veer more towards like cotton, silk, alpaca, linen as the main fiber content if I can. And so I thought, oh, this is great. And I was having such a good time with the Wool in the Gang cotton, the super happy cotton on the Nightingale. I was like, yeah, let's keep the party going with Wool in the Gang. So the only problem was I couldn't decide on colors. So I bought 3 different colors. So this is the lipstick red. This is the curacao blue. And then this is the mineral pink. And so I'm still debating.
Look at how good that red looks, though.
I know, the red looks, now that I'm seeing it on camera, I'm like, oh my god, that red's amazing. So I'm still debating what color to do it in. I think the curacao blue might be out for me. So it's kind of between these two. And this, I don't really have any red in my wardrobe. Mm-hmm. So I'm still trying to figure out if I did do it in this, it would definitely be a statement piece. It's a huge sweater. We put a picture up last time, I think, and we'll put a picture up again this time. Yep. But it is very much a statement piece. And so it's like, do I want to just scream it, or do I want to subtly make my statement? And I'm still trying to make that decision. Mm-hmm. But that's my quandary at the moment. I should probably swatch in each of them just to see, because this has some, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it's got some like modeling in it. So like when you get up really close, it's got purples and reds and blues and, some like really nice subtle variation, which may or may not help the pattern.
I don't think it would hurt.
Mm-hmm. But we'll see. So that's my other quandary at the moment, is I don't know what to do.
Well, you're pretty sure it's not going to be this.
Yeah.
So
it's between these two.
Right. So let's see. Hold one up to you. Right. So that's almost skin tone.
Yeah.
And then the other. Which you just said, like, you just don't usually wear reds. Mm-hmm. And is there a reason you don't gravitate towards reds?
I don't know. I think it just has to be a very specific red. Like, I can't wear, like, there has to be an orange undertone, I feel like, to it.
Mm-hmm. And that's just true red.
Yeah. That's just, like, primary color, straight out of the crayon box red. Mm-hmm. So I'll have to see. Maybe I'll swatch it and hold it up in some different lights and see what happens. But, I mean, seeing it on camera, it's really, really nice. But then this, too, could be a little more versatile with my existing wardrobe.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
You don't seem convinced.
Well, it's a neutral, mm-hmm. So sure. Yeah. But other than your current acquisitions with your pants, mm-hmm. I'm not sure how much else it needs to fit into the rest of your wardrobe. Because it's such a it's such a specific shape that you're not going to be able to throw it over just anything.
Yeah.
There'll be an outfit it works with. So, I don't know how much it needs to, like, fall in line with it's not
with
like
everything.
Yeah, it's not like you've got a capsule wardrobe where, like, if it doesn't fit in the capsule wardrobe, it cannot come in. It's like, if this fits for a specific outfit, I feel like your wardrobe is more like that. It's like, this is an outfit, this is an outfit, this is an outfit, and there are some pieces that make 2 or 3 outfits, but in general, you don't have, like, I wear black jeans, a white t-shirt, and everything has to, fit on top of that, you know? So I think either one. That doesn't help you at all.
No. So, that's the next decision that needs to be made.
But do you have a sortage quantity of all of these? And you're just going to return whatever you don't have? Oh, girl. You did go crazy.
Do you want to... Hold on, let me grab the bag it came in when it arrived.
Oh my gosh. This is... Watch. Put it on top of me. It's bigger than me.
So that is the bag. All of it came in.
This bag is bigger than me when I sit down on your couch.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Okay. So you fully have choices here. But Are you considering them for anything else? Or you're like, if it doesn't work for this, I'm sending it back?
No. I mean, I do really love all 3 colors. And so now I'm like, oh, do I have to find something to make with each one of them? Do I not return anything? And I'm like, I should return something? I don't know. So that's the other decision I have to make.
Okay.
Like, now seeing them in person, I don't know. I should probably return this blue. Because seeing it in person, I'm like, I don't know what I would do with it, like, with that quantity.
Well, here's the question. Have you swatched for that one where you were going to use your cashmere? Do you know that you have enough to make that sweater with the 2 tones you have now? Or do you need to supplement it? And in which case, I think that's the same
color for it.
It's a color that works within the either one of those 2 shades. And you might have enough to make it work.
Yeah.
I would consider that before returning it.
Okay.
But then if you choose between the red and the baby pink, I would agree with returning either one of those.
Yeah, for the cashmere sweater, I was considering which was it the arete, or I'll figure it out and we'll put it up. But it has a bell sleeve, and I was thinking I might not do a bell sleeve. I might do a tight sleeve to just below to just above the elbow, and then that would cut out a lot of yardage.
Well, why?
I just am like, almost everything I've made in the past year has a bell sleeve, with the exception of this. And so I'm just kind of like, I'm noticing that as I wear the pieces every day, like, all I'm doing is this.
Oh, pushing them up.
This is everything every day. It's just this. And so I was like, if I want that to be a more functional piece, what is more functional for me would be to have something that comes to, like, right here. And I think just the way the sweater's fitted too, I just want that, like, slightly cleaner silhouette with that sweater.
Right. Okay. Some decisions to make there. But you've got quite a lot to decide on there. You've got to decide if that yarn for the Brooklyn Tweed is going to work for your mom's sweater, or if you're going to have to source something new. And then you've got to decide between all of those, which means you have to swatch.
So much
Lord
swatching.
forbid. Lord forbid you have to swatch.
I hate swatching.
Yeah, so if you have any tips or tricks on how I'm going to dye this poncho, that would be great.
Yeah. I mean, we can do a bunch of stuff.
It'll be done soon. Maybe next weekend. We can dye it.
Yeah. Well, and you have enough too that, like, maybe what you should do is knit up 3 little swatches out of it,
Mm-hmm.
and we can test dye those in like different to see if what, or we can just dye it all.
This is my version of you. No, I don't care. Just dunk it.
Because I'm like, we could build up different concentrations of dye and test dye each swatch to see like, oh, what if we do, you know, like a quarter, you know, like a more diluted black, what would that do? If we do a more concentrated black, if we do full black, you know, and see which one of the results you like best.
Mm-hmm. That's very good and scientific. I could see why that would be a valuable way to do it. But that assumes that I have a desired outcome.
Right. And since you're like, if it's all black, it's cool, then... But it would also give us a sense of how well the yarn's going to take dye.
It's true. Before going whole hog. And I'll definitely have enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a problem to knit up some more swatches. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's it. I had a bunch of purple. I'm realizing that I feel like, I don't know if it's just the nature of what I select at the same time, but I do tend to choose all the same color of yarn to knit all my projects in at the same time. So it's like, I've got all purple right now. The Cascade sock is it's not purple, but I had another color that was like pink with mauve-y purples in it, and I specifically was like, don't do it. Everything's gonna be purple. And then we had that one episode a while back where everything I was knitting in was pink.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I don't understand what that's about. And the funny thing is, when I was knitting that split back tank that was in the brick color, I very shortly started the picket fence one that's in that kind of like poncho that's in that bricky red.
Yeah.
I feel like I group my knitting by color.
Interesting.
Yeah. And it's something I'm doing subconsciously. Like, I don't specifically say, like, this is the color of this moment. It's just suddenly, like, all my stuff is purple. All my stuff is pink. All my stuff is this bricky red.
Interesting.
So we'll have to keep an eye out for that and see if I continue doing things like that.
Yeah. Because I feel like I almost take, like, the opposite approach. Is it's like, what am I knitting now? What's, like, the opposite color to that? So I was just saying, like, I kind of take the opposite approach of, like, what color did I just knit? What's the opposite of that color? Or what color have I not knitted in a while? Like, what am I missing? I kind of, like, go through the rainbow every time.
So then, trying to guess out in gameplay what you're actually going to choose for that bell cardi, I don't know, because you've done yellow and your Nightingale is white. So I would think that would push you off that blushy pink, because also your Lang Lone was that blushy pink. But I feel deep in your heart that's the color you want anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see.
But because I said that, maybe you'll be like, no, I feel contrarian. I'm going to choose the red now, because she said I would choose the pink. So it's going to be fascinating.
Reverse psychology on me.
It's going to be fascinating to see which one you choose. Yeah. But either way, it's going to be like a huge statement piece. And it'll be great.
Yeah, I'm excited. I kind of want to just like jump the queue and start on it immediately, but I'm like, no. Gotta work through some stuff. I did a big reorganization of my, what I call my craft closet. And in that process, uncovered a bunch of yarn I forgot I had, and, you know, went through my full stash and was like, I actually have a bunch here that I need to work with. And, you know, obviously the top, like, 4 projects in my queue right now are utilizing that stash yarn to try and clear that out, because I'm trying to not hoard yarn.
Right, because you want to be more like a person who only has the yarn for the project you're working, and maybe the next one you don't really want to have a big stash so you can like mix and match and play with things, because you're very organized as far as like, you know what you want next time, and somehow it always works out.
Yeah, I feel like it causes me a lot of anxiety to buy things that I don't have a project in mind for.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I really have to, like, sometimes I really have to go into yarn purchasing project first, as opposed to, like, I fell in love with this color, now I have to figure out what to do with it. That tends to not work for me process-wise, whereas I'm like, this is the project I have, find something to use for it. And then that really is where I've been the most successful, I think.
That's good. I don't know what my process is, which is probably part of the problem. I don't, because I'm fully like, jump the queue, start it now, like, do it. And part of that is why I don't really know what I'm doing next. Like, once I finish these two, I do have the picket fence that's still open, but it's really, like, I really don't know what I'm going to do.
But I think you also make a lot more and finish a lot more projects than I do, because it's like, oh, let me just start this one. Or, oh, I've got this could work for this, let's try it out. You know?
Yeah.
And so I think you're much more productive than I am.
But when I do the ones where, like with the Herrera, when I was like, this is the yarn, just gonna make exactly the pattern that, like, they, you know, I'm gonna specifically intentionally buy this yarn for that pattern, lot less anxiety when it came to, like, what am I gonna do? And I didn't spend as much time trying to, like, fiddle around and figure out if it's gonna work or not. So that, I mean, I do want to move more in your direction, but I probably never will get there because I'm not as, like, disciplined with myself.
Well, I think
it's gonna be,
you know, also thinking about it, at least for me, it removes the preciousness from the yarn. Because, like, if I buy a yarn that I'm like, oh, I just love this yarn, but I have no idea what to do with it, then it becomes so, like, special and precious in my mind that it's like, if it's not the perfect project, I've wasted this amazing yarn that I love so much. Whereas for me personally, if I approach it project first, then it's like, yes, this is how this was always supposed to be, you know, so I didn't waste it.
Right, yeah.
You know?
It just worked out or it didn't work out.
Yeah. I made a good choice or I made a bad choice. But I didn't, like, waste this yarn that was so amazing.
Yeah.
On this project that I didn't love.
Yeah. While you were talking, I realized that, oh, my next one that I had already planned out is the Love Note. And I had purchased some yarn from when they had that little, like, Rhinebeck celebration thing at the Knitting Tree. I bought a mohair there and a cotton. So I was going to try to blend the two of those. And it's a purple cotton and a green mohair. So we're going to see what comes out from it. And then I had that green Cattell silk that I'm going to make that other one of. So I realized I've already chosen green as my next color.
Yeah. And
which the socks are, like, almost green.
I like that you have a transitional piece, though.
Come on back.
Oh, the sun's back.
It was looking real dark.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so you're moving on to green.
I think I'm moving on to green.
But I enjoy that you have a transitional piece that, like, blends the two together as you're, like, you know.
Yeah.
It's like a nice, yeah.
And I was moving into purple when I did my ranunculus. Because I held a purple with a tan.
Yeah.
Weird.
It's a very natural progression.
Gaughan, you're messing up the show. Come on, buddy. Well, since they're all feisty, we should probably wrap it up.
And we're getting blasted by sun right now.
I think it looks better than it did when we were, like, in full darkness and it looked like, I don't know, very moody. Okay, so, cheers.
Cheers.
I liked having actual wine. All right, happy knitting.
Happy knitting.
We're all done.